Congressman Robert Garcia of California. He is the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee.
Congressman, thank you for being here. We are hearing that there's some melee potentially happening with the Rules Committee tonight in the House, and that matters for folks because Rules has to meet and do their business before any business can come before the floor that you actually vote on. What is going on? What can you tell us?
That's right. I mean, look, first, there's no question that Republicans are going to do whatever they can to ensure that we do not discuss the Epstein files, or that there's no mechanism for their release, or that they have to take a vote. And so we're hearing right now that Republicans are having a hard time getting their members on the Rules Committee to actually want to meet. And they actually right now have canceled their first meeting. We don't know when they're going to meet this week. And you know that in order to actually vote on floor business, the Rules Committee has to meet first. And so here's the bottom line. Republicans don't want to talk about the Epstein files. Donald Trump has betrayed his base. People know that the president is clearly hiding something, and the entire MAGA right is going to do whatever they can to now either cover for Donald Trump or, as some are doing, beginning to call him out, which we like to see. We got to encourage that, and we're going to continue to keep that pressure on.
One of the aspects of this story that I know some folks, get into the important discussion around the many young women who were impacted by this, but there were also financial impacts as well. The New York Times noting in particular filings by 4 big banks flagged more than $1.5 billion in transactions, including thousands of wire transfers for the purchase and sale of artwork for rich friends, fees paid to Mr. Epstein by wealthy individuals, and payments to numerous women, the senator's office found. The filings came after Epstein was arrested in 2019 on the federal sex trafficking charges. So this story has layers of complication to it that aren't just around the sex trafficking part, but how money that was raised as part of that trafficking operation was used and who paid and all that. So to your point, Republicans don't want to have that conversation and then layer on top of it another conversation that gets into possibly transactions between who, what, when. And that part they don't want to answer for.
And of course, we do know that Republicans, almost in unison in their campaign, were all about releasing the Epstein files.
Yes.
Until Donald Trump just recently did the reversal. Is now, of course, oh, wait, we don't want to release them. And now, of course, Republicans in Congress are beginning to fall back in line. But let's not forget that Jeffrey Epstein himself said that Donald Trump was his closest friend for over a decade. There was a relationship there. There were horrific things that were clearly being done by Epstein. I mean, we're talking about abuse of young women. I mean, this is a serious issue. And not just that, but there are also now these new political and financial new complications that are developing. And so I think what we're just saying to the American public is we hear you. Look, this wasn't our issue. But clearly now there is some sort of deception happening. There are lies happening. Release all the files. And so Democrats are going to push every single day to get them released with every sort of power that we have through investigations. And certainly you can count on if we win the majority, we're going to ensure they get released.
So you're the ranking member on the Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Amazing, first of all, that is a task force, but let's put that aside. It's my understanding all but 2 of the Republican members of that task force signed on to the Massey-Khanna piece of legislation. So there is an appetite there. And I wonder if you read that and you think those numbers would apply if your committee put up for a vote subpoenaing members of the DOJ to come in and talk about what it is they know.
Well, stay tuned, because I think there's going to be a lot of efforts through even in the minority, through our subcommittees and other avenues of trying to force these votes and actually to force release of the documents and declassification. The important part about those members is that we understand, and I've talked to some, they are committed to that full House vote. And so unless Donald Trump works his magic, if we can get this big vote onto the floor, which now Speaker Johnson's saying is not going to happen until after the recess, we know that Massey has at least 7, 10, we think more than 10 members that are all in joining Democrats to actually get these files released. And in my opinion, a brave move if they're going to actually buck Donald Trump. And so I think we'll see what happens over the next few weeks, but there's a lot of moves you're going to see, I think, happen from Democrats.
That's no small thing. I don't want people to miss what you said. 7 to 10 Republicans you believe that Thomas Massey has that would.
Why they want to recess.
Which is why they want to recess. You believe that they'd vote with Democrats. This is like the first bipartisan thing I've seen in a minute.
That's exactly right. And what's important about this vote, of course, is we know that they're going to. There's a special process in Congress called a discharge petition, without getting too technical, right? They can force this vote without Mike Johnson's support. And so the vote will get moved forward. Democrats will have to sign a petition to get it actually onto the floor. Those Republicans will join us, and then we can actually have that vote. At that point, every single Republican will actually have to cast their vote and tell the American public if they're actually for the release of the Epstein files or if they've been playing a game and care more about hiding whatever Donald Trump knows.